Good afternoon. My name is Christopher Apfelbach, and I'm here to talk to you today about Tessa, a novel MATLAB program for automated Tessitura analysis. To give you a bit of background about Tessitura, Tessitura is a concept that has been present in vocal pedagogy and singing for centuries. The Grove Dictionary of Music defines Tessitura as the part of a vocal, or less often instrumental compass, in which a piece of music lies, whether high or low, etc. The tessitura of a piece is not decided by the extremes of its range, but rather by which part of the range is most used. An alternative definition for the purposes of this presentation might be that tessitura represents a piece's habitual pitch, loudness, or dramatic range. Now, why is tessitura important? Well, many of the factors that I just listed, like habitual pitch, loudness, and dramatic range, are among the most commonly cited factors by voice teachers and singing voice specialists when choosing new repertoire for their students and clients. It's generally agreed that matching a singer's tessitura with a song's tessitura yields the most effective vocal demand response. That is, matching a song's vocal demands with a singer's innate or trained vocal capabilities allows them the best chance to approach that vocal demand in a biomechanically efficient and healthy way. And out of an abundance of concern for eliciting this most effective vocal demand response, various tessitura classification schemes and taxonomies have arisen over the centuries in nearly every vocal tradition. Classical singing, for example, has the Fach system, among other classification systems. Musical theater has typecasting, and CCM, jazz, and other contemporary styles, although they do stray away from categorical classification schemes, still use descriptive characterizations like octave ranges or comfortable pitch ranges in order to describe a voice's capabilities. With the importance of tessitura firmly in hand, I hope, this begs the question, how do we understand tessitura? How do we analyze tessitura? One of the solutions that has been proposed over the years is the concept of a tool called the Tessituragram. Now, this tool was cited as early as the 1980s by Richard Rostall and Stefan Thurmer, and then later expanded by Ingo Tessa and others in the mid-2000s. Briefly, tessituragrams sum note durations at each pitch and then display these durations graphically. If we look at Richard Rostall's example on the left, we can see that he's taken every pitch class present in the piece of music that he was analyzing, and over the course of the piece, he has taken the number of quarter note beats present at each pitch and then summed them together in a neat table format. The problem with this kind of hand analysis, while useful and informative, is that it's incredibly time-intensive, and that makes it impractical for voice teachers, musicologists, and singing voice specialists to use it with the singers who need it most. One potential solution that we might have for issues of speed or time-intensiveness is to institute computer programs, which can do many of the things that we can do by hand, but at much greater speeds. This is where the novel MATLAB program Tessa comes in, and I hope that it represents a new way forward for tessitura analysis. So the broad project overview of Tessa is that it is a MATLAB program that automates tessitura analysis of digital sheet music in the open source MusicXML format. Now, this MusicXML format has been increasing in popularity over the last decade, in part because it's so similar to existing XML formats. It's also nicely convertible from Sibelius and Finale formats. If you have sheet music files left over from some of those other music notation software packages, it's no trouble to convert it to MusicXML files. The ultimate goal of Tessa, of course, is to reduce the time required to perform tessitura analyses from the days that it currently takes to the minutes that it takes with Tessa. And to accomplish this goal, Tessa executes three major functions. The first, it converts MusicXML files to MATLAB files. Second, it reads and compiles all of the musical data contained in those converted MATLAB files. and then in the third step, performs analyses on those compiled data, including histograms, box plots, and other summary statistics. I've included a link to the GitHub repository where all of Tessa's instructions, documentation, and program files are hosted. It is my intent that Tessa remain a tool that is free to use, modify, and distribute with proper attribution under the GNU General Public License. So as an example of some of the things that Tessa can do, I've taken the opportunity in the following slides to analyze Gute Nacht, which is one of the songs from Franz Schubert's famous song cycle, Winterreise. Now, tessiturograms are, in essence, histograms. They're meant to count up the durations of all pitch classes present in a piece. And Tessa can do this as well. This was the very first piece of functionality that I added to it. Tessa calculates note durations using user-specified tempo markings, and then sums up these durations in seconds at each fundamental frequency. If you'd prefer to analyze pieces by subdivision or rhythmic beat rather than by second, those options are available in the program as well. Now, histogram analysis already reveals some interesting features of this piece, notably that 440 Hz and 587 Hz are the most common fundamental frequencies in the piece. But something's missing. We're still missing something. We can go further. And so to facilitate this going further, I also implemented box plot analysis in Tessa. Now, box plots are much better equipped to handle visual representations of some of the descriptive statistics involved in datasets. Things like mean values, median values, interquartile ranges, things like that. And so we can see as we look at the box plot to the right that in this particular graph of Gute Nacht, Tessa has arranged blue as the interquartile range of the piece, red as the median, and green as the mean. And so now we're really drilling down to some concrete information about tessitura. We can see that 50% of all phonation occurs between 370 Hz, that's F#4, and 587 Hz, that's D5. We can also calculate medians and means, and these give us some estimate of the skewness of the dataset. In pieces where the mean is significantly higher or lower than the median, that indicates that the fundamental frequencies of that piece skew in the direction of the mean. Other useful indices that Tessa can calculate are percent time spent voicing. So this is calculated by taking the voicing duration and dividing it by the total duration. And you might think of this as an index of vocal demand. It estimates the density of voicing, whether the singer has any opportunities to rest or stop singing, or whether the vocal part just continues to drive forward uninterrupted until the end of the piece. Another useful index that Tessa can calculate is the estimated vocal fold cycles. So these vocal fold cycles will obviously be less accurate than things like accelerometry, laryngeal accelerometry, but they're still useful as an estimate. These are based on fundamental frequency and duration values, and they provide another useful index of vocal demand. So finally, putting it all together, I conducted a long-form analysis of the entirety of Schubert's song cycle Winterreise. This song cycle is 24 songs long and would likely take days to weeks to analyze by hand. With Tessa, I completed the analysis of all 24 of these pieces in under an hour and created these box plots to visualize that data. Again, the analysis, this long-form analysis of Winterreise is available at the same GitHub repository where all of the program files and documentation are hosted, and I do hope that you'll go and take a look at the very interesting results there. My hope is that Tessa can make tessitura analysis a staple of vocal pedagogy and rehab. So I'd like to acknowledge before we wrap up Dr. Hendrik Reimann for his MATLAB code troubleshooting, Dr. Kitty Vertolini for her mentorship, advising, and editorial revisions, and the University of Delaware Department of Communication Sciences and Disorders. Thank you to you all. And thank you, everybody, for listening. We are here at the finish line. I have posted the link for the GitHub repository. Thank you all for your attention, and I hope you have a wonderful day.